Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Inflation at a 3-decade high. Silver and gold rise. Let's explore. This bit of news is coming to us from Bullion Vault. And this is interesting indeed to see. Inflation continues to just surge on here. Gold and silver bullion prices have popped higher on the strongest U.S. inflation data in 3 decades. On Friday, taking their rallies from last week's plunge to 0.8% and 1.7% respectively. Gold prices jumped up, and we'll actually look at the numbers here as of the recording of this video, because this is a few hours old here. The U.S. Federal Reserve's preferred measure of inflation, the PCE, and for which sets a 2.0% target, accelerated from 3.1% per year to 3.4% in May. While that missed analyst forecast of 3.5%, it was still the fastest annual rise in the cost of living since April of 1992. When volatile fuel and food prices were excluded. Silver bullion rose back up. Well, and we'll look at the numbers there. The writing of that article was $26.25 per ounce, well over 50 cents above last Friday's 10-week closing low. Temporary is going to be a little longer than we expected initially, said Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic this week, of the central bank's repeated forecast that spring 2021's 3-decade highs for inflation are transitory, and confirming that he was one of the 7 Fed officials to predict a late 2022 hike to interest rates at last week's policy meeting. And here we can see a graph that's a little hard to read. Commodity prices, meantime, rose sharply again, as did Asian equities, after the overnight jump in U.S. stocks followed President Biden's announcement of a $1.2 trillion infrastructure spending deal between Democrat and Republican positions. The U.S. dollar retreated again on Friday's PCE inflation data, while Mexico's peso extended its gains following yesterday's surprise interest rate hike by its central bank, nearing its strongest dollar value since the COVID crisis began in March of 2020, after Mexico cited rising inflation and the currency's recent depreciation for its decision. The Chinese yuan also reached a 1-week high against the dollar on Friday, while Shanghai gold prices ended the week unchanged at 370 yuan per gram. The sustained small premium of $4 per ounce for bullion landed in China, gold's #1 mining and consumer nation, compared to quotes in London, the metal's central trading and storage hub. And this is interesting. Wedding season's over in India, and that's part of the reason why we do see subdued gold and silver prices, especially gold prices, usually in the summer months. But there's no big festival in the short term to boost demand among households in the metal's #2 consumer market. Keep in mind, for gold especially, the jewelry market is the largest area of demand. Together with stores remaining closed thanks to India's continuing COVID crisis, now blamed for more deaths than the official tally of 393,000, that kept domestic prices at a steep $12 per ounce discount to London this week as dealers work through existing inventory rather than making new imports. So we can see premium to discounts in China and India, that graph there. Precious metals remain contained and well within recent weekly ranges, said one bullion desk in a note ahead of today's U.S. data, within sideways trading. The giant GLD-backed ETF shrank again Thursday, taking the net liquidity by shareholders to 18.5% since last September's 7-year high. Smaller competitor, the iShares IAU Gold Trust, was meantime unchanged in size yet again, holding 5% smaller than last November's record. Silver-backed ETF, the SLV, shrank yet again, extending its outflows to 6 sessions running and liquidity almost 500 tons of bullion bars, some 2.7% since the U.S. Fed updated its economic projections and forecast an earlier rise in interest rates last Wednesday, which is interesting. The SLV reached a fresh all-time record size, needing 21,067 tons of backing at the start of the February amid the sudden and brief silver squeeze phenomenon on social media. And the thing is, though, we know there's a lot more paper contracts than there is to back the SLV. It's the PSLV, the one that supposedly has the backing of the silver. That's Sprott's account. And then on Thursday, needing 17,450 tons of silver bullion, the least since mid-January. So maybe there's a little bit of they're backing off of sort of that demand now for those accounts. We'll see. Nonetheless, it's very interesting to see where things are at, and the markets around with all these different areas in India and different places. But we are seeing it here, and that is what is moving the prices. The dollar index seems to suffer a little bit because it's directly correlated, obviously, so that makes sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this news here for the day about inflation at this 3-decade high. And so that's going to make gold and silver pop a bit. We'll see what happens as we head into the weekend and what happens on Monday, especially with the Basel III rules, the next state of rules about limiting the banks. We'll find out, or if it will get postponed. We'll see. Join us here on Sunday night, 6 p.m. Eastern, for a live stream. We'll watch the markets as they open in Asia. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.